This video is sponsored by Raycon. My favorite war game is Age of Sigmar Spearhead. I have fallen in love with this game and I have managed to paint up five spearheads. And I got a few more that I put together and didn't manage to paint, but we'll get to those a little bit later. One spearhead that I have absolutely fallen in love with is Yndrasta's Spearhead, and it is called Yndrasta's Spearhead. It is the game's namesake. These models are so much fun, but I've owned them for years because I got a lot of these figures with the old Dominion box for Age of Sigmar 3. And I painted the models, I put them all together, I based them, I painted them up nice, and they kind of just sat around because they were fine. They were golden Age of Sigmar fellas, but they didn't really excite me. Then when I saw that there was a spearhead, I picked up the chariots and I picked up the dudes with swords instead of the dudes with spears. And I just did a little bit of extra painting on top. I did some fun non-metallic metal reflections, and I did a little bit more with inks to tint them, and just a little bit of touching up. And now they're some of my favorite models that I have painted. I think they look so good. I got all of the bases nice and unified and crispy, and I really, really like these miniatures now, and I have played with them a lot. This spearhead has actually, I took it with me to the Nova Open, and Brent from Goobertown Hobbies and I played with this spearhead against Nick and Casey from eBay Miniature Rescue, and we won really, really hard. Brent can really roll some 3-up armor saves. But one of the big things that I really love about this force is Yndrasta herself. I read the novel Yndrasta, the Celestial Spear by Noah Von Nguyen, and it's one of my favorite Warhammer novels. I really, really liked it. It does a really good job of showcasing Yndrasta as this otherworldly, inhuman demigod, which she literally is. She's the adopted daughter of Sigmar. And the book makes her so interesting in that she's separate from humanity because she's a weapon used to kill giant monsters. But she also still has a little bit of humanity herself. And so it was really interesting to see her, who can 1v1 gods, working alongside humans who have a knife and could probably lose a fight to a little Skaven clan rats. It was a really, really fun novel, and it really made me like Yndrasta in this spearhead. In-game, it's not one of the better spearheads, but it is a really fun one to play because typically you start out without Yndrasta and the Hammernators, and then turn 3, these guys show up and they save the day. Yndrasta showing up and just nuking something with her spear Thengavar, and then charging in and chopping up some stuff with her sword is always a really, really fun experience. And the chariots, even though it doesn't do a whole lot in game, it's nice and big and chunky, and it is fun to just rocket this and get it stuck in the enemy's lines. And then I can use this guy to heal up the chariot and just keep it annoying. I've been really having a lot of fun with Yndrasta's Spearhead, and this is a collection of models that I really didn't enjoy for years, and now I am enjoying the spit out of it. And you know what else I enjoy the spit out of? My new Raycon Essential Open Earbuds. Raycon's Essential Open Earbuds are the perfect solution for listening to high-quality audio wherever you go. This open ear design is perfect for a breathable fit. Hanging from your ear comfortably with a lightweight design and multi-angular hook, they sit just outside your ear canal so you can stay tuned into whatever's happening around you without losing out on music or podcast quality. Raycon's Essential Open Earbuds have 8 hours of continuous playback with up to 36 hours of battery life in the case, so you can get several days of premium audio quality while listening to your favorite things. These earbuds will keep you listening to your music even through the longest painting sessions. And with the comfortable just outside the ear fit, you can keep your tunes playing with total awareness of what's happening around you, so you can diagnose that strange new whistle your airbrush is making, without pausing the Chumbawamba. If you want high quality surround sound starting at half the price of those other headphones you've seen, then you can click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/EonsOfBattle to get up to 30% off for Raycon's Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale. That's buyraycon.com/EonsOfBattle. One thing that I've always had my eye on in Age of Sigmar is the Ogre Maw tribes. These models and these figures are so cool and so interesting, And when I found out that Spearhead is a really fun game, it gave me all the excuses I needed to buy it, to get the Spearhead. Oh, and what a Spearhead it is. I love these gluttons. Literally, these guys are gluttons. And they're so much fun to play. I actually took them to the Dragonfall Spearhead tournament and I won. I won overall and I scored the most secondaries over the course of the day. And it was really, really fun. I really enjoyed this Spearhead. Some weird things just happened in the creation process of these models. I did quite a bit of kit bashing and converting on one of my favorite things, the Mournfang pack. I did a lot of work to make the riders look a little bit less like a little baby on a big giant throne and like they're actually riding the beasts. Oh, and when these suckers show up turn 3, these guys throw 7 attacks each. So that is 14 attacks hitting on 4s, but then wounding on 2s and then damage 2. These guys hit like an absolute train. And speaking of hitting like an absolute train, this guy, this is not the regular Ogre Mawtribe's commander. I have the Ogre Mawtribe's king that comes in the Spearhead, but I actually found this at my friendly local game store. Randomly, they sell a lot of old used models, and randomly they had a new in box, one of the Man Reaper characters. And so I picked it up and it was this guy with the shark fangs. And it's like one of the coolest models ever made for the Ogre Mawtribes. And I was this close to buying the Man-Eater set, which is like $150 for 3 characters. But I really, really liked this guy. And so I was this close to pulling the trigger, but then luckily my friendly local game store had an old ass copy of this guy. And so I picked him up for like nothing, painted him up, and now he is the flagship of my Ogre Mawtribes. 8 wounds, tough as nails, really good pistol, really good whacking sticks. I love this guy. The Ogre Mawtribes were a really fun new experience in Age of Sigmar, but something that I've always had in Age of Sigmar is a Sylvaneth army. And I've never played with my Sylvaneth. I think Sean and I did a demo game, or like we just set up a game of Sigmar 3rd edition and played it. I think it was 4th edition Sigmar, and played it to see like how the rules work and how the activations work. But it wasn't a proper game, but I do have a proper Sylvaneth army, and I happen to have all of the units necessary to play them in Spearhead. I had to whip up these archers, but I really like how they look and how they turned out. The bases are actually made out of sticks from my yard. There was a tree, there was a bush, an overgrown bush in my yard, and we hacked it up forever ago, but I ended up taking some of those bits and I carved them into these fallen logs for the bases. So just pieces of my house are attached to these miniatures. These guys are really fun to play with in Spearhead because it's a very small collection of miniatures. It's 9 minis. But the shenanigans are ridiculous. Movement is one of the most important things in Spearhead, and these guys can move. I can teleport 2 squads per turn, usually one teleport at the end of my opponent's phase, or at the end of my opponent's turn, and then 1 scoot in my turn. And so I can do some real silly stuff. And Tree Lord is the linchpin of it all. If Tree Lord survives turn 1 and 2, like I've almost got it made, because Tree Lord is really, really good. The only time he doesn't work out for me is when I'm playing against an army that has a -1 to incoming attacks, which is really annoying because he naturally hits on 4s, so then he naturally hits on 5s, and naturally hitting on 5s when I'm rolling means you never ever get any successes ever. But really that only comes up when Sean is playing his Ossiarch Bone Reapers. Other than that, I have a good time playing my Sylvaneth Spearhead. I do want to touch up the paint on these guys a little bit. I've been painting my Sylvaneth over the course of several years, and I think every time I paint them again, I find something I like a little bit more than I used to do. And so I do need to spend a little bit of time TLCing this army and getting it exactly how I would like it to be. And speaking of armies that need a little TLC, my Skaven. I put these guys together from the Skaventide box. What is Skaven Doom? I like Skaven Doom better. I know it was the Skaventide box, but was the Skaventide for the event of Skaven Doom? Because I like Skaven Doom. but I really like this Skaven. I have fallen in love with these guys. I painted up the entire box in like 2 days, and it was really fun, and I'm really, really happy with how these guys turned out. And they were what I used in my first game ever of Age of Sigmar Spearhead, and that's when I discovered that the game is really, really fun, and I really, really like it. Sean, for my birthday, he got me the components that I need for the other Skaven Spearhead, because the Claw Pack is the one that comes in the Skaventide set, and then the Warp Spark Pack is the one that is available. It's a hodgepodge of other Skaven miniatures. It is the other Skaven Spearhead box available. And so he got me you guys are the Rat Ogre. These aren't Rat Ogres, they're Storm Vermin. I started painting one of these guys up, and I really, really like them. They're big, they're chunky in game, they're nearly indestructible. They shoot so well, they fight so well. Sometimes my opponents will say that they're unfair because they kind of are, but I will say that the Skaven is nice and balanced because they're very flip-floppy. I feel like half the time I win really handily, and then half the time they lose really badly, and it all comes down to how random the shooting is. I also have one of the Skaven cannons that I am currently working on painting up. I've got the cannon just about done, but nothing else even close. So still got some work to do on my Skaven, but I really, really enjoy them. Games Workshop showed off that there's a Skaven Christmas Battle Force coming out, and I'm thinking about it. I'm really, really thinking about it. I have been getting the reps in with Spearhead. I've been playing all of these different forces over and over and over. I really, really know what I'm doing, but I've been looking for some new ones to play. And one of those new ones became the Mortesian Elite. These are the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and I have really, really been enjoying these guys. I actually proxied every Spearhead in the game to try to figure out which ones I really enjoyed playing, and one of those that I practiced with was the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. I didn't know anything about the Ossiarch Bone Reapers when I picked these guys up, but after I enjoyed the game, I decided, well, maybe I really, really enjoy this army. And so, much like Yandrosta and reading her novel really, really got me inspired with the Stormcast, I read End of Enlightenment, which is an Age of Sigmar book about the Ossiarch Bone Reapers versus the Lumineth Realm Lords. And the book was okay. It was a decent battle novel, but what I really liked was discovering the lore of the Ossiarch, because half of the novel is from their perspective, and it really tickles my brain that when Sigmar, the god of man, needed a new army, he decided to create an army of ghosts, of dead people that he reincarnated into the living metal armor. But when Nagash, the god of death, needed a new army, he created life. He Frankenstein together bones and souls into a new species. And that is what the Ossiarch Bone Reapers are. They're not just ghosty bones brought to life. There is actually a new person in each Ossiarch Bone Reaper, and I think that's really, really cool. The god of death made life, and the god of man created death. It just really is a really, really fun bit of storytelling, and it really makes me enjoy these guys. This is another very low model number Spearhead, and so typically in game, they'll either perform really, really well, or I'll lose too many guys really early on and the game becomes really rough. These guys, the Bat Boys, they are really good, but on occasion, they have dropped from the sky because they don't come in until turn 2, and then they just get wiped. And when they just get wiped, that is when the game becomes a problem. It becomes really hard to come back after that, but there is, with Sand and Bone, the new season of Spearhead, the cards are a little bit better balanced so that every army can take advantage of them. And there is a card that lets you bring back to life one squad that has died, that has not been reinforced, with 4 wounds remaining. And so that is one trick that I've used to be able to get these guys to actually perform on the tabletop when they don't manage to do the job themselves. I really, really have been liking the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. This is plenty of Spearheads to be getting on with, but I've played them a lot, like a lot. And so I have been tinkering around with what Spearheads to get next. And I have some ideas. And some of those ideas might involve some of the awesome hobby products available from EonsOfBattle.com. EonsOfBattle.com is the place to find all sorts of hobby goodies. We got wet pallets, we got the EOB dice, we've got basing toppers and bits, and we have some new products. We got the cork, that is my favorite cork for using on miniatures bases. A lot of these guys have the cork on them. And my favorite brushes. All hail the Rosemary & Co. Synthetic Series 313 size 3. That brush is an absolute beast. Also, EonsOfBattle.com is the best way to support us doing what we do with a membership. Each month, members get a credit that they can use on our new monthly terrain packs or any previous pack we have ever made. Our new terrain for November, the Crashed Landers. These spaceships have all the trappings of grimdark futuristic flyers that have met their untimely end, dropping out of the sky to live out their days as dramatic terrain. With weapons, engines, armor, and rivets, these corpses were carrying some precious cargo that never quite made it to its destination. These ill-fated vehicles were designed by us and are available at EonsBattle.com. Looking into my Age of Sigmar future, number one, I should finish painting the Sylvaneth and I should finish painting the Skaven, but what I'm really looking forward to is some new spearheads. One that has really caught my eye, and I have proxied it a couple of times and I really enjoyed it, is the new Caradron Overlords. Their original spearhead was a little bit rough to play with, but the new one seems really good. The balloon boys are excellent, and then they can be reinforced, but also they just have such good movement and such decent shooting already that they can really do some fun and interesting things on the tabletop. They have a reactionary move, which is also incredibly powerful in Spearhead because often your opponent wants to charge you and their charge is gonna go really well. So if you can make that charge harder, that is incredibly powerful. Also, I feel like it would just be a really nice, different flavor. I have a lot of big, tough dudes. Not really so much with the Skaven, but the Skaven are still pretty tough with their ogres and their bigger ogres. And so I feel like a smaller army with smaller, squishier dudes would make for a really fun play experience that I don't really have with my current lineup of scary trees, humongous men, somewhat bigger men, really big bone men, and rats. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have tried out Age of Sigmar Spearhead, and if so, do you like it? What Spearhead do you like to run, and how has it been working for you? I really like Spearhead. It is my favorite wargame, maybe ever. 2015 X-Wing was pretty darn good, but barring that, I really like Spearhead. Thanks for watching.